Hi, this is a tutorial for doing math on Excel and is also a math lesson for elementary school students, generally 4th and 5th graders, showing how math can be used in a variety of ways, including sports statistics, which should be of interest to many students in Colorado because this is Denver Broncos math and many people in Colorado follow the Broncos. First, we're going to look at the team statistics. And we have a spreadsheet here of the first 11 games the Broncos played in the 2014 season, their opponents, if they won or lost, and the points they scored, and the points they allowed. And to format this chart, you can just go to the Format key and go to Format Cells, Border, and then do the outside and the inside. And since I've already done it, we're not going to do it again, but that's how you would format the chart. And now looking at our chart here, we can see the Broncos have 8 W's and 3 L's, which means they've won 8 games and lost 3. So to figure out their win percentage, we're doing a formula. So you have to start with equals, and then take the total wins divided by the total games, which is 8 out of 11, and we get a percentage. Now if we want that in actual percentages, we can just format the cells by going up here, change it to percentage, and we clearly see the Broncos have won 72.73% of their games so far. Now to see the average points scored and points allowed, what we would do is we want to add up the total points they've scored so far. So to do that, it's another formula, so you start with equals, and then sum, and you need the cells. The first cell is D6, and the last cell is D16, for a total of 332 points. Now we know they've played 11 games, so what we want to do is do a formula for average. So we would take equals, and we want to use this cell right here. So that would be D18 divided by the total number of games, which is 11, giving us a total of 30.18 points per game. And we're just going to go to 2 decimal points. And now we're going to do the same thing for points allowed. So we can just copy this formula over to here. And we can see the Broncos have allowed 260 points so far this season. And to get the average points per game, we would just do the same thing as we did before. So equals cell E18 divided by 11 games. And another way to change the format is just to simply hit this format painter and move it over here. So now it's in the same format, the 2 decimal points. And we can see the Broncos have scored a little over 30 points a game and have given up 23.64 points per game, which means the Broncos score about a touchdown more than their opponents, which is good. Now we're going to look at some individual statistics. So we go to the passing tab, and Peyton Manning is, of course, the Broncos quarterback, and these stats are through the first 11 games. He has attempted 442 passes and completed 301 passes. So we want to know his completion percentage. We would divide completed by attempts. So to do that, we start with equals, just to tell the system it's a formula, and it would be C6 divided by B6. And again, we want to change this to a percentage. So you go home, percent, and we can see Peyton Manning has completed 68.1% of his passes so far this season. And now if we want to know his stats per game, we know he has thrown for 3,558 yards. As we've already confirmed, the Broncos have played 11 games so far. So what we would do here is equals, and we want the total yards, E6, divided by 11. And we're just going to change this again to 2 decimal points. And that's 323.45 yards per game, which is a lot of yards. And for touchdowns, we're doing the same thing. So we just take the total so far this season, which is 34, divide that by 11. And he's throwing a little over 3 touchdowns per game. And for interceptions, we take the total divided by 11. And he's throwing a little under 1 interception per game. And just to keep the formulas, or keep the presentation to 2 decimal points, we would just put the same format here. And we can see that Peyton Manning has a little over 3 touchdowns per game and a little under 1 interception per game, which is a really good ratio. The next statistics we're going to look at is the receptions. So we have listed here the 4 top Bronco wide receivers in alphabetical order: Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, Julius Thomas, and Welker. And here are their stats through 11 games for receptions, yards, and touchdowns. So if we want to know the receptions per game, for Sanders, we would take his total so far this season, divide it by the total number of games, and we get 6.9. And instead of doing this every time, we can just simply do a copy, paste, and then we have the numbers. And we can do the same kind of thing for yards per game. Take the total, which is 1,079, in cell D6, divide that by 11 games, and just simply copy and paste. And as we can see, the formula is copied every time. For the touchdowns per game, we take the total touchdowns, which is cell F6, divided by 11 games, and then copy that down. And it'd be best to format this. So to format, we would highlight the cells, change it to number, and once we have that, we can just copy this format and then we have the stats in 2 decimal points. And by creating the spreadsheet and using Excel, we can see that Demaryius Thomas has the most receptions per game at 7.45, and he also has the most Julius Thomas has the most touchdowns per game at 1.09. However, Demaryius Thomas definitely has the most yards per game at 108.36. So by using Excel, we were able to come up with statistics for the Broncos, both on the team level, passing level with Peyton Manning, and the reception level. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful and a good way to brush up on Broncos math.